Once upon a time, in a kingdom bathed in sunlight and song, a king and a queen longed for a child. One bright morning their wish was granted, and a daughter was born, with cheeks like rose petals and eyes as clear as dawn. They named her Briar Rose, and the warm air smelled of fresh bread drifting up from the kitchens. In stillness, love waits like dawn behind the thorns. To celebrate, the king invited all the good fairies of the land to a grand feast. 13 fairies lived in the realm, but there were only 12 golden plates, so one fairy was left out. In the glittering hall, 12 fairies stepped forward, gowns rustling softly, and each gave a gift: grace, kindness, wisdom, beauty, and every gentle blessing they knew. Silver bells chimed faintly above the music. Just before the 12th fairy could speak, the great doors breathed open on a sudden wind, and in came the 13th fairy, forgotten and hurt. Her voice was cool as the breeze that dimmed the candles. "So I was not invited," she said. "Very well. On her 15th birthday, the princess shall prick her finger on a spindle and fall as if lost to life." The room fell quiet, and the candle flames trembled. Then the 12th fairy stepped forward, her words soft and steady. "I cannot undo the spell, but I can soften it. The princess will not die. She will sleep for 100 years, and true love will awaken her." The promise settled like a warm shawl over frightened hearts. Sobered, the king ordered every spinning wheel in the kingdom gathered and carried away. Years passed like gentle pages turning. Briar Rose grew into a curious, bright young girl who loved to wander sunlit corridors and listen to birds on the garden wall. On the morning she turned 15, she followed a narrow passage she had never seen and found a spiral staircase winding up, up, up. Dust motes floated in the light, and the stone rail felt cool beneath her hand. At the top was a tiny round room. An old woman sat beside a spindle and distaff, the wheel purring softly. "Would you like to try, dear?" she asked with a kind smile. Innocently, Briar Rose reached out to touch the spindle, and the moment her finger brushed it, a small sting pricked, and she sank to the floor, fast asleep. The hush spread like a whispering blanket through the castle. The king and queen dozed in their chairs. The maids and guards leaned where they stood. Even the courtyard animals curled into dreams. Only the gentle hum faded to stillness, like snow settling. Around the walls, a forest of thorns sprang up, green and thick and twined, until the castle was wrapped in a choir hedge. Time flowed on. 100 years passed, and the tale of a sleeping beauty hidden in a thorn-covered palace became a legend told by firelight. Many set out to find her, but the thorns turned them aside, and the path would not show itself. The air around the forest smelled of earth and rain, and birds grew hushed when they reached its edge. One day, a brave young prince heard the story, and something warm stirred in his heart. He saddled his horse and followed the old roads until he stood before the hedge. The thorns did not fight him. Instead, they parted with a soft sigh like a guiding hand. In stillness, love waits like dawn behind the thorns. He climbed the castle steps and walked past sleeping guards and quiet tapestries until he reached the tower room. There lay Briar Rose, peaceful as morning, her lashes casting little shadows on her cheeks. The prince knelt beside her and very gently kissed her hand. At once she stirred, her eyes opened, bright as they had been on the day she was born. "Did you wake me?" she whispered, her voice like water over stones. "It seems I did," he answered, his breath warm in the cool room. They smiled, and the silence melted like frost at sunrise. All through the castle, the spell broke. The king yawned, the queen blinked in wonder, the cooks lifted their spoons, and the birds shook their wings and sang. Fires brightened in their hearths, pots began to bubble, and the long corridors filled with soft footsteps and surprised laughter. Hand in hand, Briar Rose and the prince walked through sunlit halls, their own laughter echoing like bells. Not long after, the kingdoms celebrated their wedding with joy. Bells rang from the towers, banners fluttered against a blue, friendly sky, and songs rose as flowers spilled their sweet scent in the courtyards. "Let the bells ring," people cried, and it seemed the heavens joined the chorus. The prince looked at Briar Rose with quiet wonder, and she looked back with a heart newly awake. Gentle music drifted across the gardens like a warm breeze. When the festivities ended and evening touched the roofs with silver, the castle grew calm again. Lanterns glowed along the paths, and the stars opened like white blossoms overhead. In stillness, love waits like dawn behind the thorns. And so the kingdom flourished once more. Briar Rose, who had slept for 100 years, awoke not only to true love, but to a world made new. Peace lived in the fields, kindness in the streets, and laughter in the palace. And they lived as all good fairy tales end, happily ever after. Love is patient, and hope keeps a gentle light.